It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of interviewing the Dean's College head field hockey coach, Coach Megan Baker. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. I'm super excited for this, and I think it's really cool what you're doing.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college field hockey?
Yeah, I honestly like coaching kind of fell upon me at an early age. So I started when I was in high school, actually, because my high school coach ran a youth field hockey program through just our town, and all the varsity girls every Saturday morning during the fall, we ran we had different age groups. So I ran the middle schoolers because I just wanted to hang out with the younger kids. So I was like, don't put me with the little babies. Don't let me do that. So it kind of started there. I did that for 4 years. And now I still go back and coach for her, just like I'm a firm believer in give back to where you came from and people who brought you up. But yeah, so it kind of got into club coaching when I was in college and playing in college. And then once I got to my senior year of college, I was like, oh, I could get my master's for free while coaching because I heard of graduate assistant position. So I was like, it kind of was something that just like kept me going with academics and everything, and just opened so many opportunities. And then once I got into college coaching, that was kind of like the solidifier of, oh, I love this. I love how competitive it is. Like I never wanted to lose that higher education feel. And just showing up every day didn't feel like work. So that's where I was like, okay. I always knew I needed to get into something that I loved versus like, oh, it's just a paycheck. Um, and that's something I could really beat into my kids of whatever it is, just make sure you love showing up every day. But yeah, it's just, I love the college level.
What was that experience like for you as a player playing for St. Joseph of Maine?
Yeah, it was incredible. It just a lot of learning came in. But I had so many friendships there, friendships that are now going to be like my bridesmaids. It's just it's a community. St. Joe's is a very small institution, smaller than where I'm working now, but it's just the people that made it. And that's something that I hold so dearly in my heart. And all of my teammates, we all wanted the same thing. And you don't get that a lot of places, which is pretty insane to say. But yeah, we loved getting out there and playing a sport that no one understands. And it's just, yeah, it's a community. It was a really loving, and so many opportunities too opened for me there as well. But I just had a lot of people that were always in my corner rooting for me. So yeah.
While playing at St. John's of Maine, what was it like putting on that uniform and what were some of your biggest accomplishments as a player?
Putting on the jersey, it kind of changed every single year. So I remember my freshman year, I was just shell shocked. I was like, I'm playing college field hockey. Oh my gosh, I'm a starting goalkeeper as a freshman. What's happening? Nothing really computed with me just because the school was 45 minutes from where I grew up. I just didn't feel like that big of a deal for me. And then my freshman year, when we got to the conference finals, I was like, oh, this is a big deal, actually. Oh my gosh. Um, and then every single year, you kind of grew an appreciation for it. And when it came to my senior year, I had some rituals that I did every single game day, every single thing, every time I put my uniform on. That just like I still kind of hold to me when I'm coaching when it comes to like the lineups and anything like that. I always like I don't know, just have my own little routines. But when putting on my jersey, one time that like it really hit home for me was I was selected to the NFHCA Senior All-Star Game. And it was in Pennsylvania, and it was me and 60 other seniors from all around the country for Division III. And I was like, I am selected. I am one of 60 selected for this. This is crazy. And just wearing it, and I was one of the only people from Maine, and I was only the second one out of program history to go to this game. Oh my gosh, it was unlike anything else. And I was like, I feel like I deserve to be here, but I'm also like I'm among so many greats. So that one really, really got me. So yeah.
What was that experience like for you getting into coaching and coaching for the Cape and Field Hockey Club?
Yeah. So the way I kind of got to that club is it was location based mostly. But then the club director knew my undergrad coach. They actually coached together at University of Southern Maine. And or so yeah, they coached together in a way. Because his name is Chris Pothier. He's just like a genius guru behind the sport. So going into his program, it was solely educational for me because I knew I was going to learn from someone amazing. And he just breeds Division I athletes. So he's just very good at what he does. But just consistently being there, it's just always been, I know some coaches get into club coaching just like for as a recruiting feeder. And it can be a little bit of that for me, but it's more just to, like get my name out, but also the education part. Because that's something I'm a firm believer too of if I'm not learning something new, like every year that I'm coaching, I'm doing it wrong. I need to forever be keeping that up. But and Cape Ann has been a really huge progression for me in that sense. Yeah.
How was that experience like getting to coach with the Maine elite?
Yeah. So Maine Elite was actually formerly known as Katahdin Field Hockey. I played for that club team when I was in high school. So it very full circle. Um, so I coached for that club team when I was in I want to say my junior senior year of college. And just the club director was amazing. Her name is Jessica Brox, and she her younger sister actually was on my St. Joe's team, and just it's almost like she scouted me. She came to one of my games. She was like, I need a goalkeeper coach like her. She's awesome. And I ended up just like loving it. And I continue to try to give back as much as I can to that program. But I just saw her this past weekend at a recruiting tournament. But I mean, it's just so cool to coach for what brought you up and just kind of give back to what you brought up. And it's very full circle, and I'll forever do it. And it gives me a reason to go back home to Maine. So
Of course, getting into college coaching, what was it like when you got that grad assistant job at Cedar Crest?
it was very cool because I had to get into grad school first. And I wasn't the best academic kid when it came to college. I put athletics first, and that's something I really preach to my kids to not do. And I really struggled with getting into grad school. So when I got into grad school at Cedar Crest, and then they offered me the GA position, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Holy cow, I can get my master's for free. This is insane. But yeah, and it also solidified like I'm capable of what I always knew, like what I always wanted to do. Yeah, it was just kind of like that. Hey, I can do this. I got this. And I'm smart enough to do that. And that's something I really try to tell my kids too, of like, you're not going to be an A+ student all the time. And some people are. Sometimes like academics comes a little bit better to other people. I was not one of those kids. But you can still do great things, and you don't have to be like this picture perfect A+ student. And when I was in grad school, I was a 4.0 kid. So I was like, what is happening? But it's just more centralized to like what you enjoy learning. But yeah, it was just opportunity, which was really cool.
Of course,
Yeah.
when you went to Albright College, what was that experience like getting to become an assistant coach for the first time and as a full-time assistant coach?
Yeah. It was awesome. So with Albright, kind of it's a full circle thing as well. So the head coach at Albright was also the head coach at Cedar Crest. So she hired me initially at Cedar Crest. And then I got there as the GA, and she got the job at Albright a week before preseason started. So it was pure chaos, but it made the most sense for what she was doing, just for her family, for just everything. Um, and then when I finished my first year, I wasn't loving Cedar Crest, just wasn't crazy about it. And her name is Amber Achenbach. I adore her. She's like a best friend, mom, everything for me. But she was like, my assistant is leaving. I'd love to have you come. And I've always wanted to coach coach with you. And that was kind of my time in my career where I was unsure if I wanted to keep coaching. I just didn't have the best experience at Cedar Crest. Loved the athletes there, but yeah, just something in it just kind of pulled me away a little bit from coaching. But then I saw the opportunity for working with Amber at Albright. So I was like, okay, I got to take it. It did. So technically I transferred my master's degree over there. So I didn't finish my master's at Cedar Crest. I finished it at Albright. And I got my master's of education there. But she was just working at Albright was kind of like a breath of fresh air. And it really just brought that love for coaching back out in me. She gave so much trust into me and like let me fail and let me go through what I needed to go through with everything. And oh gosh, that place has a special place in my heart, and Amber does. And yeah, I loved Albright, and it's just, yeah, I love it.
What were some of the things that you learned to then help you to become a head coach for the first time at Dean College?
Oh, what didn't I learn? Oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot of it was like a lot of the behind the scenes work. So I didn't really know what took into place when it came to like building your own game schedule, building your practice schedule, working around 4 other fall sports, working around other like non-traditional sports, and just like everything it took to make a season happen. And then the recruiting components as well. Like a lot of my recruiting philosophy stems from what I worked with at Albright with Amber. And it's just, she was so transparent, and I appreciated that so much in the sense of like, when it came to recruit, she always wants to be, yeah, just be overly transparent of, I'd love to have you here, but like, if I want what's best for you, just always looking out for the person behind the athlete. And that was like a game changer for me because I never experienced that before. So that is a huge part of my recruiting philosophy. But yeah, and just the way she was a Division II All-American, and the way she like sees the game as well is so different. So learning from her in that component versus when I was a Division III athlete. So just seeing the game in a different viewpoint was so cool. And again, I take a lot of what she saw, all that into my current just coaching. Yeah.
Coming to Dean's College, what was that feeling like getting announced to become a head coach for the first time?
Oh, it was crazy because I felt so young. I was like, how am I? So I got the head coaching role when I was 25. And I was like, I'm responsible for a program. Oh my gosh. And it was a newer program too. So I knew how much work it was going to be. Just trying to build something from nothing pretty much. But it was pretty surreal. Because at that time I did a 4-month stint at Nichols College where I worked in admissions. And it was so helpful to learn that part of just recruiting and higher ed. But yeah, the day I got the call from our athletic director, George, it was so cool. It like goes down in the top 10 favorite moments of my life. But it felt so right because I was like, I am one of the younger coaches to do this. Oh gosh, it makes me so happy. And I'm so grateful to still be here.
Being a younger coach and stepping onto that, what was that feeling like stepping onto that field at Dean's College for the first time as a head coach?
I was terrified at first, but within like the first 5 minutes, I was like, holy cow, this is amazing because my current student athletes are so welcoming. Like the girls on this team before I got here, and it just kind of flows into every recruiting class we get. They want to build this program so badly, and they want it to be something great. And they're willing to take anyone in just to be like, you were going to be part of our growth, part of our history, part of everything. And they just took me in and didn't even think twice. They were like, okay, you've won championships. You've just gotten so much education. You've kind of been all over when it comes to coaching. We are so excited from you. And like oh my gosh, they just didn't even blink. It was awesome. And it just made me be able to breathe. And I was like, okay, I can have fun with this. I can just do my thing and not have to worry. Oh my gosh, do they think I'm too close in age? Are they going to have boundaries? Anything like that. But it was just it felt so smooth, and yeah, it was awesome.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the field hockey program at Dean's College?
Yeah. The welcomeness definitely builds into that culture, and the girls, so the rising senior class and rising junior class has been part of since my first year, and they like forever want to instill we are a welcoming team, like we are an encouraging team, but we're slowly getting more competitive, and it's been awesome to see that. But when it comes to culture too, it's like I want us to just I want us to have fun through something we all love, while also being accountable, while also being determined, and just being able to push ourselves personally and as a team. So it's kind of combining everything holistically of like, we are going to be academically strong. We are going to be athletes. We are going to be competitors. We are going to be great sports. And that's something I always try to press with them too, of doesn't matter if another team is chirping at you, doesn't matter if another team is like just playing dirty. You are always the bigger person. It's gonna last longer. It's gonna impact you more in the long run. So always be the bigger person. And sometimes they always want that little bit of an anger out, and they're like, "Oh, but she shoved me," and I was like, "Who cares? Move on. That's on her, and the ref will see it. Like, you got to move on." But yeah, that sportsmanship part was something we really hold near and dear to us. But yeah, the culture has been, and it's something that's forever evolving too, because the team is going to forever evolve. So that's something like I always want to keep building on that culture while still like remembering where we started.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach versus for your players?
I watch a lot of film, and they know that. They know I'm a film fiend. But yeah, just a lot of preparation in that point of like knowing who we're going against, trying to make sure my kids are aware of what we're going against. But yeah, stats, film, just all preparation forms. But me and my assistant coach have a pretty good routine of like we like to jam out to music. We like to just like get all that competitive energy pent up. And we always set up the field together just to we have a pretty good ritual with that. But I mean, game days are so different for me now. Now that we have a little bit more of like a solidified program, because I don't have to stress of like, oh, am I gonna have enough numbers to play today? Oh my gosh. And now we're at the point of, all right, who's my starting? Who am I starting? Who am I getting out there? And I always like to do mental check-ins with my kid too, with my athletes. Just I ask for their transparency as well of, hey, if you have something personally going on, like you are just not 100% today, let me know, and that's okay. But you also want to give your best for your team, and if you're not there for your best, let me know. I will maybe sub you. I will maybe do XYZ, but I'll have those conversations with them too of like, are you okay with XYZ? Yeah. So
Who are
yeah.
some of the teams in your conference that you compete against each week?
Ooh, we have a big conference. So we have St. Joe's, Maine, my undergrad, University of St. Joe's in Connecticut, New England College in New Hampshire, Riviera, New Hampshire, Colby Sawyer in New Hampshire, Regis College, Simmons, LaSalle, Elms, Albertus Magnus. Is that it? Oh, and Johnson and Wales University and Anna Maria College. We have a lot. I think there's 12 of us. So big conference.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like your alma mater comes to your home facility?
Oh, it is crazy. It is very weird. So yeah, we had St. Joe's, Maine come to us this fall. And I went to them the fall before. But it's just so cool. And it's more of like I'm proud of where I am, and I get to show my undergrad coach what I'm doing and kind of just where I'm at. And it's just always so nice to catch up with him. And like whenever other coaches do come, the GNAC coaches, like we all get along pretty well, which I appreciate. And we chat a little bit before game time, and just more check in because we're all doing the same job at the end of the day. And I think we all just appreciate what we're all going through. And we like to celebrate each other too. But once it's game time, it's game time.
What
But
is
yeah,
that? What is that away atmosphere like when you go to play teams like New England College?
so those are longer bus trips. So those are like 2.5-ish hours. So I always make sure that the girls have plenty of time to either nap or take care of their homework. But about a half an hour before we arrive, that's when I'm like, okay, wake up, get the music rolling, let's go. Nothing else matters. And you're locked in for the next like 3-4 hours, depending on how long the game takes. Um, yeah, it's more just whatever they need to prepare. But making sure half an hour before they all know, they're all super aware of put everything away, let's go.
So far as a head coach, what have been some of the things that you've been able to accomplish?
Oh, we've made a lot of history so far, which is pretty cool. And some people like will see them as small things, but you also have to celebrate the small things. So the program has never won more than one game. We won two last year, which was super cool. But just statistically, like everything was so different. We scored the most amount of goals in a season, had the most amount of assists, most amount of offensive penalty corners. Our senior goalkeeper passed 400 saves. Um, just setting records for like defensive saves, just everything keeps going up and up and up when it comes to record wise. Had the most amount of people on a roster. It just it's been awesome. And we had my first career win as a college head coach this past year. So it was just big year, very big year.
Worse, what was that feeling like getting your first win as a college head field hockey coach?
It was awesome. I think my second win was a little bit more like, oh yeah, because I think I wanted I was waiting a year and a half for my first win. So it was just, I need it, I need it, I need it. Oh my gosh. So I let it get a little too chaotic in my head. And I mean, I'm fully transparent with my girls too. After the fact now, I'm like, I was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I know they all were as well. Like they all were so itchy to win. And it was still awesome to just be on that side of the score, but my second win was it felt like my first win, if that makes sense. And it was a home game, it was senior day. Like it was just we were a team, we were cohesive, we were all like honing in on the things that we've been working on, just shared the love everywhere. It was yeah. So definitely like a little bit of a weird first second win experience, but I'm super aware. I'll be super transparent with it, and I'll be like, I learned from that. I learned from my first win of I need to celebrate the little things. I can't get so antsy about my firsts and everything. I just still want to celebrate them, but I yeah, I just gotta chill out sometimes.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a head coach, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes?
Yeah, so kind of the process. It always starts with if I see them at a tournament or if they reach out to me and they have film, I kind of start there. Uh, and then I usually invite them to campus, depending on what class year they are. Usually by their junior year, I'd like to get them on campus, but sometimes seniors start a little bit later, so that's totally fine. Um, so yeah, I do a Zoom meeting. I used to do phone calls, but I love seeing their face and just expressions when I ask them questions. And I just like to put a name to the face or face to the name. Um, but yeah, getting them on campus for a tour or even an overnight, depending on where they're at in their recruiting process. Just so they can like see the full feel of like what campus feels like. They can shadow classes, stay overnight with some of the girls on the team, go through meals, just to get a full feel of like what is it like to be a student athlete here. Um, and I always encourage them like come observe a practice, come watch one of our games, anything like that. Um, yeah, and then and too if like we're doing team bonding or something like that. And then they wrap up with me, and I always just if I am offering them like, hey, I am offering you a roster spot, you typically wait until they're fully accepted and everything like that. So, but when I am looking, when I'm actively like out recruiting, biggest things I look for are your character. So how are you treating your teammates? How are you treating your coach? What's your effort like? Like how are you a ball's going out of the end line and you can definitely get there, but you're not like booking it to get there. Um, or like how hard are you running for a recovery sprint, anything like that. Because those are intangibles that I can't teach you. Like that's something you grow up with. That's something like you get coached early on. And then I go for the fundamentals of like how good is your stick work? Can you ball control? Like what's kind of your sweet spot? Are you really good at driving, really good at aerials? Like what elimination are you great at? But yeah, that kind of is my recruiting process feel. I know not every coach is the same, but I'm looking more for the player and then I can teach them whatever they need to be taught.
As a head coach, what's it like seeing those freshmen put on that Dean's College field hockey uniform for the first time?
It's awesome. I mean, you see so much opportunity and hope in them, and like you can see how excited they are, and like they're like, "Oh, I'm playing college field hockey. This is very cool." But it's cool to see them feel that accomplishment. And you definitely see like their first game jitters and everything. Um, but they get so excited and it's awesome. It's very rewarding.
What is it like getting to see them score their first goals and their first assists?
Oh my gosh. Anytime we score a goal, I act like it's a Super Bowl. My gosh. If you can watch film on me anytime we score, I jump like 10 feet, not 10 feet in the air, obviously, but like I get air and I'm like, this is so cool. It's so cool to see their work paying off. Um, and you'd think I scored the goal. No, I mean, any opportunity to celebrate my kids, I think it's the greatest thing ever. I adore them. I think that they're all incredible people and I love celebrating them. So,
What
yeah.
is it like getting to see those seniors put on that uniform for the last time?
Oh, oh. So this senior class, this going to be graduating, I've been with them since they were sophomores and it just, they are amazing and you just think about the person behind it and all the memories you've had with them. Yeah, they're they're cool people. And just like what everything that they're gonna do in their lives. Like you're gonna be like, that one's gonna be a nurse, that one's gonna save lives one day, that one is gonna be just an incredible parent, that one's like just thinking of them down the road. It just you see their whole life ahead of them. It's like a parent. Um, but it's rewarding to see them go through their whole 4 years and just accomplish everything they have. And oh God, it's a proud parent moment.
Of course, as a head coach, what is it like seeing your players going to coaching and going into the career field?
It's awesome because it means that they were impacted by my coaching in some way. Obviously, like everyone's impacted in another way. But it just means like they want to continue it in them. So I have one of my seniors actually, she's going to be assisting at UMass Dartmouth and getting her master's there as well. But when I was talking to her, I'm just like post-grad plans, like what are you looking to? And she's like, I really want to stay involved in the sport in some way. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and find you something great. And it's right down the road from her house. And she's set up with a really great head coach there. And it's so cool. It's so rewarding. I think that's just the best way to put it is like, I have so much pride for her and it's just so rewarding to watch them continue and start to do what I do.
What if what are some of your future plans for the Dean's College field hockey program moving forward?
Oh, we have big plans. So when I first got hired, I set up a 5-year plan. I'm right on track with where we're going. We're going into year 3, and this is where we're competitive. Like we should be in playoff contention within this year. But it's just continuing to grow humans and grow these incredible athletes into a competitive historical team that people can't just be like, oh, it's Dean. No, we're gonna give you a run for your money. Yeah. So it's been very cool, but I don't want to give all my goods away. I have a good plan.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college field hockey?
My advice would be take everything as an opportunity, even if it's a good or bad one. You're gonna learn something either way. But don't just sit in your dorm. Don't just kind of be like, oh, that seems lame. I don't really want to do it. Go do it. Colleges give out so many free things. I know we pay for it in our tuition, but take advantage of those things. They're always giving out free food, free like gear, free just anything. Take advantage of those opportunities. And you never know what they can turn into. They can turn into a great friendship. They can turn into an internship. They can turn into literally anything. But that's my biggest piece of advice. And I was like, just put yourself out there, and have fun. Like, not everything has to be business. You're here to be a college student, a student first. Like, athletics is for the cherry on top, but you're here to be a college student. I want the most out of your experience. I want you guys to do like everything that you've wanted to, like study abroad, do whatever you want to do. Yeah.
What advice would you give those seniors looking to go play professionally after college?
Professionally, a lot of your work has to come from you. A lot of like your accountability has to come from you. I know playing at the college level, a lot of it does come from your teammates and from your coaches, but playing at that like next level, everything's got to come from you. Like, you have to be willing to put all the work in by yourself at times. And you have to, it's a commitment. It is gonna become your life if you want to play at that level. So yeah.
What advice would you give those players looking to get into coaching after their playing career?
Experience. Get as much as experience as possible. And even if it's starting at like the youth level, that's experience in some fashion. But like, that's the biggest way, I'd say. And then your experience will slowly grow, like get into club, get into high school, middle school, and then just knock the door down with, they're always looking for college assistant coaches. Every institution is, and they always want post-college players. So experience.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches looking to become head coaches one day?
Oh, you just got to shoot your shot. Obviously, like, take everything that your head coach says, everything, take it seriously and ask questions. Like, that's where you want to go out of your way to be like, what's your thought process behind this formation? What's your thought process behind this corner unit? But just ask those questions, take notes, keep them in a binder or something like that, and just like put yourself in uncomfortable situations too, of like, maybe ask your coach a few times, like, hey, can I run this drill? I really just want to try it, see what I do. And I want you to critique me. I did that a few times, and it was nerve-wracking at first because I was like, oh my gosh, they all think I'm crazy. I feel like I'm not explaining this right. But it just takes practice, and it takes getting comfortable with it. But once you're like, and even if you're not fully ready, but you want to become a head coach, look at the job portal, look and just shoot your shot. Like, that's the only way you're going to get experience too, of like interviewing and putting yourself out there. Yeah.
What advice would you give those head coaches looking to build their own program and build their own legacy in field hockey?
Building a program takes time, and it's not for the weak. Oh my God. It takes a lot of patience. You have to be patient with yourself, with your athletes, everything that you have planned for, like culture and for accountability and just for everything. It's never going to be the way you want it to be. And you have to be able to roll with the punches. You have to be able to just adjust on the fly. And I think that's just any coaching as well, but especially with building a program. My first year, we had 7 girls who never picked up the stick before because I needed numbers. And it was the most chaotic year, but it was also a super fun year because I was just able to coach. I was able to kind of start from the ground up and just be like, hey, this is the beautiful sport I love. Let me introduce you to it. And I still talk to some of those girls, which is really cool. And you got to be patient. You got to be able to, it's going to be a war zone at times, but I promise you it's going to be rewarding, and just roll with it. You'll be okay.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you out on social media along with the Dean's College Field Hockey Program at?
Yeah, so you can follow Dean Field Hockey on Instagram. I don't think we have Twitter, but it's Dean College FH. I love our social media. And you can follow me on Instagram as well. I have a coaching account. It's just called Coach Meg Bakes, at Coach Meg Bakes. But I post a lot of just my everyday coaching life or different events that we have going on, any recruiting things I'm doing, or just living a life as a coach. But yeah, check them out.
Thank you again, Coach Meg Baker, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Dean's College as the head field hockey coach.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Megan, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.